Hey everybody, it's Elliot from Little Punk People here, and today I'm here chilling out in my bedroom, and we're gonna be going over some of my favorite horror movies. Let's get into it. So the first movie that I'm gonna be going over is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. As you can see, this is the really cool limited edition thing. I don't know what this is. It's meat. And Texas Chainsaw Massacre for me is one of the most eerie, creepy, gruesome movies that I've ever watched. And fun fact, Leatherface is based off of a real life killer who skinned his victims. And of course, he wasn't as crazy as Leatherface running around relentlessly with a chainsaw, but he was still a bad person. And also, one of my favorite things about Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just the weird noises that Leatherface makes. They were like, it kind of sounds like a dead animal or dying animal. So I think they did that on purpose. Amazing movie. You've probably seen it. The next movie that I'm going to be talking about is The Visit. Unfortunately, I don't have it on DVD or Blu-ray, but we watched it on Amazon or Netflix, one of those streaming services, a couple of years ago. And when I first saw it, I'm embarrassed to say, I screamed, okay? There was the scene when the grandma was naked running around and she saw the camera, she screamed at it. That freaked me out a little bit. And that weekend, I had to go to my grandparents' house and I didn't want to go because I just watched that movie. Now I'm going to be talking about one of my favorites, Don't Breathe. This movie is really intense and I like the message behind it. Don't judge a book by its cover. These robbers thought they were going to do a little heist on this old grandpa who was blind, who doesn't have the right capabilities to take care of himself. But they are wrong. Little did they know what the hell was going down in that basement in there. That movie was insane. And The Quiet Place is another awesome, intense movie, like Don't Breathe. But seeing it in theaters kind of added to the experience a little bit because everybody was quiet with a quiet movie. And fun fact, the place where they filmed that movie is actually a quiet place. Also, what they did in the beginning scenes, spoiler alert. Okay, what they did in the beginning scenes when they killed the kid, right off the bat, that broke my heart. That was brutal. That showed how real these monsters can be. And also, another thing to look forward to is the next Quiet Place movie is coming out. The trailer's up on YouTube. Check it out. I'm very excited. Here we have Hereditary. This movie, I would say, is the most perfect type of horror movie that you can get. The special effects are really creepy, really weird. Gives you those types of chills that you get, ugh. And one thing I really love about this movie is that at the beginning, it started going into the psychological stuff, but it slowly shifted into something that could be really real. And when I watched the movie, when they, spoiler alert, they said, Hail Payment, Hail Payment, Hail Payment at the end. Because the weird thing in my mind, it's like, okay, you don't want to think about it? You'll be thinking about it now. So I had payment stuck in my head for like about a couple weeks, and I was scared. I don't know why, but thanks to this horror movie list, now I have it stuck in my head again. And also, this actress came to visit the Terra Fire 2 set. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet her, but that's really cool. Now, I had to add Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors. I had to add another classic in there, as well as Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But this movie was one of the earlier horror movies that I watched, and Freddy Krueger has become one of my favorite iconic horror icons. The scene in this movie, one of the beginning scenes, of course, if you haven't seen this movie yet, then I don't know what you're doing. It's incredible. But one of the scenes, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, one of my favorite scenes in general in horror was when Freddy Krueger ripped out the muscles and veins and stuff out of that guy and used him as a marionette to walk off the building. That scared me when I was little. I was young. But the thing I love about Freddy Krueger is that he's fun, he's got humor, and he is incredible and scary at the same time. Now I'm going to be talking about Devil's Candy. I think this movie is very underrated only because a lot of people don't talk about it that much. We watched it on Netflix or Amazon, one of those. But this movie is awesome. The entire movie has Metallica in the background, which is one of my favorite parts, and the main character is a Metallica fan. And spoiler alert, the scene where she is sleeping in her bed, she wakes up and turns around and sees that creepy guy sitting in that bed, that freaked me out. That night, I didn't want to go to bed because I was afraid he was going to be sleeping right next to me. Incredible movie. You have to watch it. And of course I had to include Terra Fire. I'm going to be in the second one, but I'm a huge fan of Terra Fire. As you can see, this is the limited edition Blu-ray disc. And what I love about Terra Fire is that it's all practical effects. It feels like a classic 80s horror movie, and it is gritty, creepy, and weird. Art is one of my favorite characters, and I say he's already one of the most iconic horror characters. And in this movie, I would say it has the most gruesome scenes in horror movie history. Definitely check it out. Go on Netflix or Amazon. Give it a watch. And I just wanted to say that filming for part 2 is going amazing. One of my biggest accomplishments in life is auditioning for part 2, getting the role for part 2 after watching Terra Fire and being a humongous fan. And filming is looking awesome. I'm very excited. Then I had to add Conjuring 2. Unfortunately, we don't own it on Blu-ray, but Conjuring 2, one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Of course, I've watched House of a Thousand Corpses and Friday the 13th and stuff when I was younger. I was a huge horror movie nerd then. But once I watched Conjuring 2, it put me into a whole new level of horror movie nerd. Conjuring 2 is amazing. One of my favorite things about it is that I felt like in the morning, you felt safe, but at night you knew something was going to happen every time night struck. And the scene that caught me off guard, and if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. The scene that caught me off guard was when it was morning, okay, and the little girl was messing around with the TV and it went all staticky. She went over, it turned off. You see Bill sitting in the reflection, sitting in the chair that he died in. She turns around, not there. Turns back, Bill, get out of my house. That was amazing, one of my best favorite scenes in general, and I got to meet Bill in person, got an autograph, took a picture. He was a super cool dude. One of my favorite movies of all time in general, Conjuring 2. And I had to include Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. House of a Thousand Corpses is one of the first movies I've ever watched when I was a kid. And I wanted to dedicate this video to Sid Haig. I met him a couple of times. He was such a cool dude. One of my heroes in horror. Rest in peace. I also wanted to mention Hellraiser, which was another crazy movie, and check out the interview I did with Doug Bradley. Follow him on Instagram. He was such a cool dude, and that was a really fun interview. And I just wanted to include a few honorable mentions. Why not? Let's do this. Halloween 2. Halloween. Halloween 3. Excision. The Howling. They Live. Street Trash. Let the Right One In. Mandy. Shaun of the Dead. The Monsters. The Perfect Host. Blood-Sucking Freaks. The Lost Boys. and Fright Night. These three aren't really horror movies, but I still want you guys to check them out. Thank you everybody for staying to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Comment down below some of your favorite horror movies that we didn't include on this list. Maybe we did include them on this list. And also suggest some horror movies that maybe I haven't watched yet. And whoever else is in the comments. We need it right now since we're all stuck at home. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay clean, stay positive. Have a nice day, and also make sure you follow us on Instagram at LittlePunkPeople, at Elliot Fulham, and also on Facebook, Twitter. Check it out. Thank you guys so much, and have a nice rest of your day. It's dark randomly. Like I said, that's when the bad things happen. Just kidding, I wanted to give a quick shout out for Wolfmen of Mars for letting us use their music throughout this video. And I want you guys to check out the movie Satanic Panic. It is a horror movie and Wolfmen of Mars did the music for it. It is out on Shudder. Check it out.